Right, boys, 22 hours into a fast. This is getting quite repetitive, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So this seems to be working. I'm still losing weight overnight. I'm getting the results I want. So fasted. I've been for a walk this morning in the woods. So that's kind of killing a few birds with one stone. Time in nature. I learnt an interesting thing about bird song as well. Why hearing bird song calms your nervous system down. And it's because we would have evolved through our kind of evolution alongside nature, and that includes birds. And birds will only sing when there aren't predators around, because if they sing when there's a predator around, it's going to come and eat it. So to hear bird song calms your nervous system because you know you're safe from predators. If the bird hasn't got predators around, neither of you. So I just thought that was an interesting thing. So 22 hours into a fast, I can feel the mental clarity coming in, mental health's doing good, losing weight, having all the desired effects. And I'm still using that time, like I said before, with the spring cleaning of the cupboards. I'm using that time, that fasted period. So from when I wake up until when I eat my one meal a day at 11:30, it's meditation, stretching, time in nature, walking, all these beneficial things that we accumulate stored body fat and muscular tension and imbalances due to stress, and we're not managing the stress correctly. So that fasted time, you're basically having to, I guess you could call it facing your demons, because all of this stress you've accumulated, you have to deal with. So abdominal massage, stretching, yoga, things like that. I can hear the bird song now, actually. I don't normally notice it, but I guess I'm mindful of it now. And you know this to be true because as soon as you start a new diet, the cravings come in, and it's difficult. It's not an easy thing, and the reason you put on weight is because you are using that as stress management. So anyway, the plan for today is very simple. It's one meal a day at 11:30. It's going to be a carnivore meal. 500 grams of beef mince, 10 grams of beef liver, 10 grams of beef heart, cooked in tallow, 2 egg yolks, and a tin of mackerel. So the total calories for the day are going to be around, I believe it's 1,700 calories, or it might be 1,800 calories. My maintenance for the day is around 2,400, so that's a decent calorie deficit. It's not huge, and I'm not working out, so you've got to factor that in. But I believe that's enough to have the desired effect, and the last few days it has been working, so I'm going to stick to what works. When it stops working, I'll have to reassess and change it, but I can't see this being a problem. So it's going to be another 24-hour fast, another decent carnivore meal, calorie deficit, walking is my form of exercise, plenty of stretching. So it's very simple protocol. So if this is something you want to try and implement, and the reason I like this method is because people want to recomposition their body and they make it very stressful. So the first thing they do is do a load of cardio. They hit the gym 5 times a week. They restrict their calories massively. They're not drinking alcohol. They're not smoking. They're eating food that they don't even like. So a load of salads and things like that are full of toxins and plant defense chemicals. So it's stressful. So the reason you're overweight is because you used food to manage stress. You're having to face that stress plus all this extra stress. So I'm choosing to not work out and minimize stress as much as possible. So that's the plan, very simple. I've got an interesting concept for you, and I think I've come up with this. I think this is brand new. I don't know if this is, I've never heard of it, but I believe you can outsource training, right? So I'll try and explain what I mean. When you're trying to make money, the first way you do it is to become an employee. You work for somebody else and they pay you for your time. So money is human energy in monetary form, in a transferable form. So someone can buy my time and energy for money, and that's being an employee. So the first thing you do to make money, and you can buy other people's time and energy with that. So, and that comes in the form of products and services that other people offer. So that's the first step, is be an employee and spend your time to make money. Then the next step you want to kind of implement if you want to make more money is to outsource working. So that's having an employee. So you can pay somebody to do something that returns more money than you paid them. So if you pay them £10 an hour, ideally you want them to do a thing, a service or a product or whatever. You give them a task that returns £20 an hour. So if you paid them £10 an hour, they're producing £20 an hour worth of value. So you're profiting £10 each hour, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to tell them what to do. Now obviously business is a lot more involved than that, and running a business is very stressful for the business owner. I think that's pretty obvious. But so there are benefits to being an employee, because you have none of the stress of being a business owner and none of the problems. But your income is capped. So that's outsourcing work to gain money, in terms of money being energy, stored energy. And it is stored energy, because if I buy beef is calories. I can eat the beef, and then I'm buying stored energy. So that's what money is. But I don't think anyone's ever thought of outsourcing exercise, right? So my friend has been training since he was about 14, and when you put the hours in, they say you're a master after 10,000 hours of a certain skill. When you put the hours in, you learn the correct way. So just trial and error. So he's been training since he was 14, and he's gone through all of the progression, and he's managed to tell me, and I haven't had to do it. So he says you start off in the gym and you're doing 6 days a week high volume, so like 1.5 2-hour sessions, or high reps, 4 reps, 4 sets of 12 reps, and all of that. That's the classic bodybuilding mentality, and there's the diet mindset that goes along with it. And the more he's learned is, if you're natural, overtraining is going to be a detriment. So when you're young, or if you're on steroids, you can get away with overtraining, and you can get away with eating rubbish. But at a certain age, as a natural lifter, you're not going to get away with it. So his natural progression has ended up at what Mike Mentzer talks about. And Mike Mentzer says, only do 1 set, right? So you do 1 set to complete muscular failure, and then you have long periods of rest. And he recommends up to like 2 weeks between training sessions. And this makes a lot of sense as a natural person, because you just don't have the recovery ability. And then my friend's sort of saying that when you do a workout, it lowers testosterone because you're expending all that energy. So I come to the conclusion, can't you outsource training in the way that you can have an employee? And I think being a personal trainer would be the best way of doing this. So, and why do I think this would work? This all came about because yesterday I'm planning on, while I'm cutting, not training, but I still like going to the gym with my friends because it's a social thing. So I went to the gym and I didn't train. I just kind of stood there, and he doesn't need a trainer. They both know what they're doing. So I just stood there while they were training, and I'm talking to them, and I'm just stood. And I kind of felt like I was getting the benefit from his workout. Now this is going to sound crazy, but give it about 10 years, I reckon people will be doing this. I'm either a genius or a complete retard. I don't know which one it is yet. But so you're outsourcing training, and that's broscience, right? But there are some scientific studies that I heard about years ago that kind of make this make sense. So if you're having a chess game with somebody and you win and that person loses, the winner experiences a testosterone increase and the loser experiences a testosterone decrease. So if you want to increase testosterone without taking steroids, you could pay somebody to play chess games with you and lose, right? So that's a way you're using money to increase testosterone by outsourcing it to this guy. So whenever, for men, there's competition, the winner gets an increase in test and the loser doesn't. So that's a transfer of energy. And there were studies done with people that took steroids. You've got multiple groups. One group took steroids and trained, they made gains. One group took steroids and didn't train, they made gains. One group didn't take steroids but trained, and they made less gains than this group. So if you take steroids and do nothing, just the increase in test will produce muscle mass. Whereas if you're not taking steroids and you train, these people will still do better off. So you can make more gains by paying a guy to play chess with you and lose, because you'll experience a testosterone increase, than if you hit the gym. So I think this is probably a foreign way of thinking to most people. Most people think hit the gym 6 days a week. But just increasing testosterone. So just getting better sleep might increase testosterone and produce more muscle mass than going to the gym. So say you've got a busy schedule and you have to skip an hour of sleep to get your hour of gym session in. You might build more muscle by not going to the gym and just going to sleep. So this is a different way of thinking about it. So another study was with basketball players. These are professional athletes, and they had one group that trained the skill, I don't know, shooting hoops, whatever it is, doing that skill for 4 hours a day. Then they had a second group that sat for 4 hours a day and visualized doing the skill. So same practice. If you're a basketball player, you can visualize that thing very easily as actually doing it. And both groups improved at the exact same degree. But this second group didn't actually have a basketball in their hand. They didn't do any practice, but it was still 4 hours of visualization, and they improved the same. So if you're in the gym and you're watching somebody train, it's like my shoulders are a weak point. So I said to my mate, can you train rear delts? Because that's what I need. If I'm looking at somebody training shoulders, that's the same as the visualization group. You've got the practice group and the visualization group. That would be the same as working out. I go in the gym, I can either practice or visualize. But the problem with practice is it lowers test, creates damage in the body, and there are negative effects now to training. And I've been noticing overtrainers, so people that work a lot, overtrain in the gym. And it's like I saw a video, the fittest guy in the world, he runs ultra marathons and crazy stuff. And he looks 10 years older than his actual age. And he's got kind of dark eye circles and all wrinkles on his face. So this is overtraining, and it's having a negative effect. It's alright training, but there are some it's not just all positive. It's not like you go to the gym, get bigger and stronger. You're lowering test, you're creating damage in the body. It's stressful for the body. So I didn't even mean to stumble across this. I just am not training while I'm cutting. I don't think it's a beneficial thing to do. But now I'm thinking, you could probably train high intensity once a week or once every 2 weeks. But then the rest of the time, train with somebody, but you don't actually train. You just let them do it. This sounds mad, but I think give it time and this will be a thing. But I've never actually heard of this. So I think it's quite an original thought. But this is going to make very little sense, I think. So that's the conclusion I come to. And the optimal way of doing this is to be a personal trainer, because people pay you for your time to train them, and then you can stand there and get all their gains. So yeah, I'm just going to experiment with it, because all the time I'm planning on cutting for about the next 25 days, 30 days. I'm not going to train at all. And I might do this. The odd gym session when my friends go, I'll go up. And I don't know what you'd call it, but you're kind of getting their progress by osmosis just by being around them. And again, it comes back to the chess game thing. When my friend was doing dips, he kind of looked at me and he was like, oh, I feel silly grafting because I'm grafting and you're just stood there. And that is the same as losing a chess game. If it's a competition of who can do the least work and still get the same results, he's doing the work and I'm not. So I think there is a genuine exchange of energy that you would get. So that's broscience. Maybe it's just my I'm going delirious because I haven't eaten carbs or something, but let me know what you think. Have you ever come to this conclusion or thought about this? And what do you reckon? I have a feeling that most people are going to say you chat and waffle, but we'll see. I'll test it out for myself. So yeah, simple one. If you're trying to cut, calorie deficit, 24-hour fasts, don't go to the gym, just get plenty of time in nature and walking. It's very simple. Let me know what your goals are for August and what your protocol is, what you're doing. Have a good day. Speak to you tomorrow. I just want to add something to my previous point. There is a very fine line between the optimal way to become skinny fat and this method that I'm talking about. So my friend told me that he went on holiday recently and they were eating a lot of carbs and sugar and walking all day. So like 6 hours of walking, carbs, and then rest. And he said he lost all his gains and got skinny fat really quick. And I've been overweight most of my life and that's how I did it. So the key to this is you have to be carnivore, and yeah, that's about the only requirement. So if you're fueling your body with just beef, strict carnivore, and then exposing yourself to other people training, being very mindful and having a clear mind, then I think this would work. But as soon as you start introducing bad habits and bad food, you're just going to get fat. So that's the prerequisite to this actually working, is the foundation of good food. Because if you're eating high quality beef, I just don't see how your body, and you're eating it not in excess, I don't see how your body is going to want to store that as anything but muscle and functional tissue. It doesn't make any sense. Also, one more thing. I don't think watching videos of other people train, so like Sam Sulek, Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever, is going to have the same effect. I think it's going to have the opposite effect, and it would steal your gains. And any type of scrolling is taking your energy, because that's your time. In the same way that money is stored energy, stored human energy, the time it takes and your attention to watch these videos has stored energy in it. So you would use that to make money, you would use that to go to the gym. So this method is only going to work if you're very careful with not eating sugar and not giving your energy away. So it's an energy cultivation practice, and you're actually borrowing other people's energy. So you can't be scrolling. If anything, you can't even be thinking. You just have to be purely present, plus a strict carnivore diet, plus rest. I believe that's the formula.